Robin Pod is powered by Budget Tyres Auto Centre. Make them your first and only choice for a vast array of vehicle services. They are reputable East Hull-based car specialists and dedicated to providing quality services at reasonable prices. And don't forget, they are trusted by the players, club officials and supporters of Hull Kingston Rovers. Find them at 146 Leeds Road and ask them about the exclusive discount they offer Hull Kingston Rovers Forever members. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Robin Pod Weekly. Rovers are flying high at the top of Super League after a dominant victory against the previously unbeaten Leigh Leopards. Joining me for the first time this season is Robin Pod regular Scott Solway, and we have another debutant as Bazza Kingston joins us from his cab somewhere in the deepest, darkest Cheshire and joins us to look ahead to the Giants game on Mother's Day and to discuss all the latest goings on in rugby league. And of course, Steve Till jumps on for Robins Revisited. Scott, before I come to you, Bazza, it's a great privilege to have you on. The effort you've made to get on the Robin Pod tonight, and people who are watching this on YouTube probably won't realise that you are in your lorry cab right now, which looks better than most people's flats or living rooms or kitchens who are viewing this right now.
No, thanks for having us on, Johno. It's a privilege to be on. Feel quite honoured. Yeah, it's not so bad in here. Gets a bit lonely though when you're missing home, but yeah, we keep smiling, we crack on.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bazza, just for the people who are watching on YouTube, right? And I know you get lonely, but show us one of the comfort blankets you've got just to bring you home. Go on, show us where you're camera now.
I'll probably get ripped like a grown man having that, but there's my bedding.
So people listening on podcast, Bazza has got in his lorry cab a grown man. How old are you, Bazza?
39.
39. He's got a Robins duvet in his lorry. Okay, so but Scott, that's not the worst thing you can do, is it? That shows his devotion, doesn't it, to the Robins, and it shows you how much Robins are in the blood.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, we are, aren't we? Every single bit of us. I might get one of them myself, actually, Bazza. Quite good, them. You know, I'm not.
One of them lorries, one of them duvets.
Yeah, you can get them in a lorry as well. One of them duvets is pretty decent, doesn't it? Get tucked up on that, would be quite nice.
Yeah. I tell you what, let's kick off. I mean, the Rovers are putting a fantastic performance against Leigh. Scott, I'll start with you. Probably a little bit of trepidation going into the fixture. The fact that we was going up against the only other unbeaten side in Super League, the second place side in Super League. People obviously thinking, you know, we're going to come up against tough opponents. It didn't really pan out like that, did it? It was a bit of a funny old game, wasn't it? When we thought it might be a bit more, and it didn't really pan out like that.
I think that was down to our own performance, though, as well. Leigh are a good side. We know that. They're certainly going to be somewhere in or around the top four come the end of the season, I would have thought. Top five. They'll certainly make the six, I think. But we just stifle teams now, don't we, Rovers? You know, first 20 minutes with Jared and Mickey Mack, you know, battering teams into submission for the first 20, 25 minutes. Teams can't get out the road 20, 25. So a lot of the hard work is done in that period of time with Jared and Mickey Mack on the field. You know, people don't realise the amount of work that they actually get through in that first 20 minutes or so before we bring on Jez and, you know, players like Jai Whitbread and Sam Luckley. They do such a big batch of work in that first 20 minutes. And it puts us, it gives us a good you know, a real good stand in the game, you know, where we are right from kickoff. And I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's just the way Rovers play now. I just think we're a really, really good rugby league team. Yeah, we're not there yet. There's still a lot of travelling to do, but we're a really, really good rugby league team. And it's not how bad other teams play against us, which it sometimes looks like. I think it's how good we are, and we don't allow teams to play, I don't think.
No, and you're right, Scott. And I think, Bazza, that one of the things that we've been able to enjoy is the fact that the team is pretty much unchanged. Of course, we've seen the Broadbent coming into the fullback position, and we've seen a couple of injury, but largely the side is the side that's played every game. Obviously, the Robin signed Arthur Morgan. There was a few calls expecting him to come straight into the side. Jack Broadbent at fullback, was he justified having that starting position?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Jack Broadbent. I think every time he's filled in for us, he's had a stellar performance. He's really, he's give 110% no matter where he plays, if it's on the wing, in the centre, at fullback. And the following week, if he's dropped, he's never too disheartened. He's always ready to fill in again. Whether it be the next game or the next 5 games, you'll still get the same amount from him, which makes him an incredibly good professional. Should it be dropped for Huddersfield? I wouldn't like to be Willie Peters right now, because we need to see some game time in Arthur Morgan. But right now, Broadbent's quite undroppable. So yeah, for me, Broadbent is doing a stellar job. It goes unnoticed a little bit, but I think the loyal Rovers fans appreciate the work he actually does do.
Yeah, and Scott, it's not just the Rovers fans. Obviously, Willie Peters appreciates the job Jack Broadbent does. They had that joke, didn't they, Scott, when they went to Amsterdam, and Willie Peters went with Jack Broadbent to the promo, and I think it was December, and I think Jack Broadbent joked about the fact he was the only one going with a head coach to do this promotional work. But what was interesting as well, Scott, is Jack Broadbent is a player who's pushing himself. He contacted me to go about doing he's doing a degree at university. He needed to get people to fill in a questionnaire, etc. Willie Peters loves all that kind of stuff, and it about how players are trying to better themselves, and not just on the pitch but off it. And you can see Broadbent is firmly one of Willie Peters', I don't know, like, players who he enjoys and likes to work with. But it's backed up with his performances on the pitch. And what I've been impressed with, Scott, is kick return meters. They're increasing. He did come up with that one error, that knock on, didn't he? Where you go, it was a tough one. But what Broadbent's doing is he's backing up in terms of their meters returned, but he's sliding into the line a lot better than he used to do. And it's going to be, I mean, we're talking about games ahead, and we'll come on to the Huddersfield game. But Broadbent, for me, on Sunday, fully justified his starting spot in that side.
Well, he keeps his place. It's got to be Broadbent's place to lose at the end of the day. And there'll be no point playing, say, Arthur Morgan on Sunday and then having to bring Broadbent back for the cup tie, because Mo can't play in the cup. So, that it don't make any sense. So for me, Jack's going to keep his place on Sunday regardless. He'll then hopefully he don't get injured, and then he'll go on to play in the quarter-final as well. But you're right, Willie loves people and players like Jack Broadbent. Any player who is willing to go that extra yard and better themselves and become a better version of themselves every single day, Willie loves those kind of players. And you can tell. I think Jack's problem is that, although I would say he's a fullback, the fact that he can play centre and play on the wing and stuff like that is a utility player. And I don't think Jack will ever really nail down the place that's his. But you have that opportunity with Jack that if you have got a couple of injuries, if you played him at fullback or at the centre or in the way, even if you had to play him in the halves, I think he'd do a job for you there. He's just that kind of kid who you can call on him 100% and he will never let you down. And yeah, he dropped one ball on Sunday. You don't realise how swelly that wind was on Sunday, are they? It was a hell of a wind. He's dropped one ball in 3, 4, 5 games, whatever he's played in. Being absolutely outstanding. He's been a brilliant player. And he's only young as well. He's still relatively young in the big scheme of things, still learning the game. His kick return is superb. His last line of defence as well, when Leigh broke through, you're thinking, they only had Broadbent to beat. Yeah, they weren't beating him. No chance. Good player. I'm really pleased we've got him in our squad. I really am. Whether he can nail down that play full time.
Exactly. Great point, that, Scott. And Bazza, another player who seems to have evolved in this second season is Oliver Gildart. how he's now partnering his best mate, of course, Joe Burgess. The try scored. I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. It was an easy try to score, but the way he's slotting into that centre position, and the fact that he's talking about how much he enjoys playing at Robins, he's had a great pre-season. Gildart is becoming that player that we hoped he would be when we first signed him. He probably didn't reach them levels last season, but this season, it just looks that player that we probably needed to balance out the edges left and right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will be the first to hold my hands up. I was one of Gildart's biggest critics at one stage. Like, I didn't think he should get anywhere near the side in the grand final, and rightly so for Broadbent. He had a bit of a horror show in the NRL, bit unsettled. He come over to Leigh. Again, he didn't look now startling. Then we thought, right, he's had a few months back in England. We're going to get the best out of him. And he just did not light it up last year. Obviously, injuries, head knocks. And I felt for the lad because he just wanted to keep going. But we was at a point where there was really no place for him because Broadbent was keeping him out the side. But this year, thankfully, he's stayed injury-free. And you can see him growing game by game, getting stronger in defence, stronger in attack. And that link-up play with Burgess, I'm not going to say it's absolutely pristine, but you can see it week in, week out, getting better and better. The link-up play, knowing each other. And I'm hoping all his worst days are behind him, and he's only going to get better for us from now on.
Yeah, you're totally right, Bazza. And I suppose and you're right, Scott. I mean, Bazza, what Bazza said there about Gildart, but we've got to give credit, haven't we, to the off-field staff, the physios, the strength and conditioning staff who have worked with him, and you know, they make a big thing of the pre-season at Rovers, don't they, about making the players as fit as possible, ready to go for that journey. And there's a great deal of credit that must go to them off-field staff. Gildart, though, he looks like he's quite a chilled person, isn't he? Like, when you hear him talk, he's quite relaxed. And like Burgess is as well. Like, they seem to fit, the like hand and glove, aren't they? They seem to fit each other. And it's great to see them playing together. And for me, Scott, Gildart is a player where if he's fit for the season, for me, he could be one of the most important players for us. As that sounds, I really think his link play with Burgess, and we're going to come on to some of the tries that the Robins scored. The offload that he gave to Burgess before then Burgess kicked on for Lewis.
Yeah, I was going to say that offload. Yeah, that quick hand was somewhat unbelievable. Yeah,
keep him fit, and that is what it brings.
And I think that's the problem last year. We saw little glimpses of that. Sorry, Scott, with Ryan Hall. Cute little offloads. And in 2024, we saw little bits of that. And I think as a Rovers fan, we kind of expected that week in, week out. And it just never seemed to happen. And when he come back from injury, I just never thought we saw the best of him because he never got a decent run of games.
Was it like last season in the derby as well? Was it? Did he go? He warmed up, didn't he, in the derby at Craven Park, and then didn't start? Is that right?
No, that was St Helens.
Was that St Helens? That's right. I know he did something in the warm up, didn't he? Then didn't play. And it's always had these like little niggly head knocks or little niggles and stuff like that. But if you've got a fully fit Oliver Gildart, you've got a top centre there. You know, I know whether we played that much in Australia or not when he went there, you don't get picked up by an NRL club if you're not very good. You know, so he's a top player, is Oliver Gildart. If we can keep him fit, keep him on the field, and as you say, partnering his best mate in 𝗀𝗃, you know, they're a pair of characters as well, aren't they? Neither of them seem to take it. They're just characters, you know. They're like a laugh and a joke. You can see when they're on the pitch, they wear the socks off, but off the pitch, you can tell that they just have a good laugh as well. And you know, that's what life's about, isn't it? And if you can do it on the pitch as well, you know, you're not going far wrong. It's playing inside your best mates.
Well, you can see the boys are enjoying the rugby again. they're loving it. They're enjoying themselves, and I think that's most important.
Well, I'll tell you what, someone who wasn't enjoying it, and he gave the biggest frustration with Davis when Tyrone May gave him that pass, and you looked like he was going to go on for one of the tries of the season.
Yeah.
That pass, and do you know what was great? What I loved is how frustrated Davis was that he didn't catch it.
Yeah,
you know,
because it wasn't a bad pass, was it? It was right into his bread basket.
I don't know. I don't think it was a bet.
I think Tom Davis was running maybe a little bit too quick, if that makes sense.
Well, I'll tell you what, it reminded me of the Ethan Ryan try against that lot when Coop passed it, remember, on the 25-metre, 30-metre line, and he raced through, and it looked like a carbon copy almost of that. But what I enjoyed is just how frustrated Davis was, Scott, that he didn't catch it, and he wanted it. He wanted to go for that score.
Sticking his hand up, apologising to his teammates. Sorry, lads, I've let you down. I've made a mistake there. You know, taking responsibility for something. And you know what? Whether it was a decent ball, or whether it wasn't a decent ball, or whether he was moving too fast before May passed the ball, or whatever it was, the fact that he stood there and stuck his hand up and went, you know what? I should have scored there. Because if he takes the ball and is in the clear, nobody's stopping him from there, you know. And you could see the frustration in his face, couldn't you? Slamming his arms down, and it was a bit like having a paddy, wasn't he? You know, but it messed up, you know. But
well, the fact that you know what? I think it's telling of a man when he didn't have a go at May. He was frustrated with himself for not catching it. And that's the thing in it. It's not what May did. It's like whether you thought it was the best, he was frustrated with himself. I mean, talking of offloads, Bazza, we saw 𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗃 somehow get the ball free to Lewis to score that try. I mean, at the time, when you're watching it on the video replay at the screen in the ground, you're trying to work out what's going on. It's not always the best. You see it then when you get home on TV and you go, wow, what an offload from 𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗃. And then you get the offload from Lewis as well for 𝗪𝗪𝗋, and you're thinking, hang on, Lewis is going down, he's tackled, and then he pops up the ball, and I think we're going to go on to later tries, let alone luckily offloading. But the fact that they're trying to keep this ball alive, we're talking about a Rovers side who are so hell-bent on defence, but they're coming up with some plays in attack, which is very pleasing on the eye as a supporter of rugby league, someone who just enjoys watching rugby. They're playing some nice rugby here, aren't they?
They really are. That mini one, on another day, that could have been chalked off. It was.
You reckon? I don't know. Why? Because it went backwards.
Yeah, but you know yourself, Johno, with how match officials, one person can give it, the other one can go up. No. It's knock on, you know, it depends what it goes up at. I was more gobsmacked how we got it out, but just seeing the boys with the offloads and the way they was playing for each other, even with Mikey kicking it, Bear just kicking across to Mikey, you can see the chemistry between the players. They know each other inside out, and I think they're like glue. Like they know what everyone's going to do. Like Mikey's screaming at 𝗪𝗪𝗋𝗃 to come on his inside. He just knew where to throw the ball. The ball just went up in the air, and out of nowhere, 𝗪𝗪𝗋𝗃's caught it. It's like they just know each other inside and out. Whether you're a prop or you're a centre, you know what I mean, or a scrum half, they just know what everyone's going to do. And I think that's what we've been missing for a lot of years. That chemistry and the belief in each other. They're just backing each other every time. And what I've noticed, they're doing these sort of plays at the right area of the field at the right time. They're not forcing it. They're not making the silly mistakes. They're doing it clinical at the right time.
Yeah. The problem is for me as well is if it don't come off and they force the pass in the opposition's 10 or 20, and it don't come off. If you give the opposition the ball back there, Rovers will just say, right, come on, we'll just defend you out. Because defensively, we're outstanding. Defensively, we're outstanding.
Well, they can afford to do it because they're backing their own defence, and they're trusting one another in defence. So they've earned the right to do that. They've earned the right to do them offloads.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and of course, the big thing as well, Scott, is, I mean, you've got Mikey Lewis, who's still relatively young, bossing around some of the biggest names who have played rugby in the last few years, and he, with Lewis with his age, if you showed someone who's never watched rugby league and said, "Oh, this kid here, bloke here, he's only X age," people won't believe it because he's commanding that side. And the last few years, I mean, we've talked it on the Robin Pod so many times about the evolution of Mikey Lewis, but the maturity he's showing now in terms of his gameplay, he looks the part. He's now playing the game. Yeah, he's still got that fiery temperament. He's still got that little bit of dog in him where he wants to go at people. But,
he needs that, though. He can't ever lose that, can he?
Yeah. I think that drives him on, don't you think, Scott?
Yeah. And that makes him a better player. And some people use the word petulant. And maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it could have been sometimes, and he was doing stuff in the tackle or winding players up, and you just think, do you know what? I know it's part of the game, but you don't need to do that, Mikey, because you're too good for that. You're good. You're a good player. You're going to be one of the best players, probably. Hopefully the kid stays injury-free and his career is going to be absolutely outstanding. But he's got a level of maturity now. And I think 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏 spoke about a level of maturity in Mikey. He's got to take more responsibility. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. And everything that Willie has asked him to do, he's taken on board. I'm just so glad he plays for us. I would hate the fact that he was in an opposition's team playing against us, because he's such a talisman, isn't he? And it seems a big word that to pin on somebody's shoulders of such a young age, but he is a talisman.
And the retired, unretired, a famous shirt number.
Yeah,
that probably tells you the magnitude and the thoughts around a certain player, doesn't it? Well,
that could have put more pressure on Mikey as well, couldn't it? It could have been, you know what, I'm wearing this shirt now and I'm proud to wear it, but I've got to live up to it. And he is.
I think for me, Scott, around that as well, is the good thing is it's not really been spoken about now. It's just gone on. It's now gone under the radar, so that pressure is elevated. So it's been lessened away from it. Bazza, as good as Rovers was in that first half, Leigh didn't help themselves, did they? We saw the Dave Armstrong double movement, which is crazy. If your kids are playing rugby league, you're going.
I think that was Billy Hudson, that mate.
Oh, sorry, Hodgson. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have got. And then we saw the Hanley clean break where he could have passed it left or right, and he just didn't pass to anyone. Yeah,
and you got to give credit to our defence, scrambling defence to stop that. Like Hanley, should have passed. If he did, would there be another? I don't know, because we had really good scrambling defence there. Bailey Hodgson, that's just inexperience in it as a young man learning his trade. And again, we're covered well. I think it was it Tyrone who put the pressure on, who prevented that try. I don't know. I reckon if it maybe been Josh Charnley going over instead of Bailey Hodgson, maybe the outcome could have potentially been different. But take nothing away from our defence scrambling. We just, no matter what, we kept them out. We really, really did. We switched off for about 3 minutes towards the back end of the game, but we'd already made a lot of changes by then. And that silly dropout, which was very clever by Leigh, it's just parts like that I don't think Willie will be happy with.
And you're right. You're right, Bazza, because there's. I was going to say there was certain parts in that second half where we sort of went into a little bit of a lull. We was fortunate that Leigh really wasn't good enough to capitalise on it, but you was almost going. I don't know, like we seemed to go off the boil a little bit. I don't know. Did you feel the same?
Mate, I wouldn't say go off the boil. I think if you look at it, we rotated a lot, like taking Minchella and Korth. So we was moving things about. So of course there's going to be a new structure there, but you got to take nothing away from Leigh because the game's gone. The game is finished. They're going home empty-handed, but they was still throwing everything at us, even with testing you on the centres. And that was a cracking matchup. That with 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃, like phenomenal. Leigh just never gave up. Yeah, we did go into a little bit of a lull, but they still stuck together and got through it. I think the most disappointing part was that, which means nothing, was that dropout. It's schoolboy. They had the back sense. Mickey Mack wasn't even looking. But they'll learn from it. It's one of them things. Thankfully, they didn't get over, and the game was already done there. But it's just something for future reference. From minute 1 to 80, don't switch off. Be
Yeah,
ruthless.
and what you just said there, Bazza, is so important. I think Willie Peters, if you listen to his press conferences, pre-game and post-game as well, they're always looking to learn. They're never happy with what they're doing, and I think it's important at these early stages that, as well as it's great that Rovers top of the league. So what? It don't mean anything, does it? Willie Peters is looking for these areas of improvement. So things like that he's probably wanting things like that to happen. Not saying he wants it to happen in the game, but he's pleased that the club of the team got something to work on and build on. Because if it'd be so easy for him to go, oh, we're a great team now, we're perfect, we've sorted it out, we're going to be great. Hang on, it's such a long season between now and the end of October, with the final included.
Well, I think Ryan Hall nailed it last year when he said that they fall in love with themselves.
Hey, I love that. I love it. I always bring that up. Don't fall in love with yourselves.
They can't let that happen again, and I don't think it will.
Yeah. Scott, I was going to say to you, though, of all the tries of the game, do you reckon this was the best one? You got the Sue offload to May, luckily offload to 𝗂𝗂𝗃 to Batch, and then somehow the ball just pops up out of nowhere, and Davis just goes in for the try.
Amazing try. Try of the game for me. As good as the Burgess kick into Lewis's hands was good, and those quick ball from Gildart to Burgess, that was a try of the game for me. Luckily, offloading and the ball out the back from Batch into Davis was just absolutely sublime, wasn't it? And he still had to finish the try, did Davis. I mean, he was always going to do it, but it was just how good the move was. Just throw it 10 in the hand. Let's just see what will come of this. Luckily offloading out the back, and what a ball from Batch that was into Davis. Yeah, we scored some really, really good tries, didn't we? They weren't just like barrel overs or the ball through hands and scoring points. And yeah, we can score tries as well. As good as we rely on our defence, and we're built on our defence, we know when to score a try or two, don't we? And we're scoring some really, really good ones at the moment.
Yeah, and Scott, when I went to back to work on Monday, the next day, one of the lads at work said to me, he said, "Oh, how good were Rovers?" And
yeah,
I had to say, those all right, but the one amazing. And but then I had to temper that with the fact that we beat Leigh 30-0, and I'm like, do you know? It's like funny when you're reading it, you're trying to work it. Like Rovers were great, but the one brilliant, as daft as that sounds, I thought there was lots. Like Bazza has already said, there was lots of areas of the game where I thought there could have been a bit better.
Yeah, if you look at it, we probably bombed 3 or 4 tries as well. It wasn't just a Davis one. We probably bombed 3 or 4 when we maybe forced the pass, or we went a bit early or something like that. I was out with a good mate of mine the other night. Massive Hull FC fan is my mate, but it's one of the good ones. Very honest about it. And he said to me the same question: how good were Rovers? Because he watched the game. He said, "How good were Rovers, especially defensively?" I said, "We don't give a lot away." And he was saying to me the other night, he said Rovers. He said Rovers like Wigan now. A couple of years ago, when Wigan were like holding on and then looking for the referee to get off the ruck and out the mud into the tackle, we were saying Wigan are the masters of the dark arts. It's like watching like a Harry Potter magic trick. They play the rules to the absolute maximum. Wigan always have done. We're doing that now. We do exactly what Wigan did 2 or 3 years ago. We've become that team, and it's not masters of the dark arts when you look at it. It's absolute perfection in defending, your line or your 10, or not letting teams gain field position, whatever it might be. But then to back that up with the tries that we score. But you're right, it's not perfection. It's not perfection. There's always way to improve, isn't there? Always way to improve in any game. And like Baz has just said, I think Willie, and you've just said yourself, Johno, Willie will look at the little things, because what makes you a great team is doing the 1%. And that's what winners do. Winners do the 1%, not just the 99. And that's where Rovers are heading, I think.
There you go, 1% club. Bazza, I said to my mate, Carl, who's listening, hopefully, because if he's my mate, he should be. I said to him, someone it was 22-0 at half-time, do not worry about the scoreline. All they're bothered about is now not conceding a try. It's not about Rovers scoring. And I think the mentality around this side is do not concede points. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've got the reward of a breakfast at Nibble or even Harry's. That's great incentive for them, isn't it? But honestly, they are so hell-bent on that 0, which is a great place to be. It's not always going to happen, but it's a great place to be for that, for us as supporters, because I've got so much confidence in them that as soon as they get a half-time lead built up and it's 0, they're going to do it. The defence is ferocious. It's aggressive. But it's controlled as well.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. And if I'm right in thinking, the last 3 meetings between KR and Leigh in the league, minus the Challenge Cup, they've not put a point on us. Now, Leigh ain't no bad team.
No.
And for us to be able to do that to a side like Leigh is testament. But it was the same last year. We was just getting all these nils. And we've never had a coach or a team who could put so many nils on the opposition. And now it's becoming more and more often, to the point where we kind of start expecting it, if that makes sense. And like this year, even the York game, I know they put 2 points on us, but that was from a penalty, not a try. So you'll think the games this season alone, and we're only so that'd be 4 games without conceding a try. That's phenomenal work. That no matter what the opposition, that is top quality work, and that is all down to the staff as well. Danny Ward, obviously Willie Peters, the conditioning team, and the players just grafting hard for each other. And for once in 20 odd years, I'm starting to believe I'm looking at Rovers like fans look at a Wigan or a Saints. The only worry for me, what makes me nervous, is because we're reaching these heights. I'm not saying we're there yet. I don't, we've got a target on our back now. Now, we 5 years ago, we'd look at Saints coming to Craven Park. That was our cup final. That'd be our scalp. Now I'm feeling every team we play, we're their scalp. And if we can carry on putting these zeros on, that's an even bigger credit to us.
I worked out since May last year that the average concede points per game that Rovers have conceded is 9. 9 per game. That's since May last year.
That's got to be better than Wigan's. I think that's probably the best in the league. Has to be.
Yeah. Works out at 9, an average of 9 over something like whatever it is, 17, 18 games. Average concedes 9 points. Just crazy.
I think our worst defeat last year, barring the Challenge Cup, was Catalan, and I think since then we've been a lot better for it as a team.
Yeah, we've lost. Well, since May last year, we've lost 4 games. 3 of them were to Wigan.
Incredible. Yeah.
And the only other one was Golden Point to Catalan at Craven Park. That's the only other game we lost.
That's incredible.
And probably the other stat as well, Scott, is the fact you need to probably get out a bit more. And
yeah, I know, I'm a sad bastard.
Yeah, that's the other stat. But right, Steve Till is waiting in the wings. We covered Leigh Leopards. We absolutely probably put them to bed. Very interesting. Derek Beaumont didn't comment pretty much anything after that game. Maybe not had enough red wine. I reached out to him. He's been on the Robin Pod a lot on the previously. For whatever reason, he didn't want to come on. But yeah, we put that game to bed. We move on. But before we do that, let's reflect with Steve Till, who's going to take us to games gone past ahead of our games game against Huddersfield on Sunday.
I like the word, Johno. When Scott said "sad bastard," the next word you said was Steve Till.
No comments. I'm not passing any comment, anything more than.
I'm looking at. I'm looking back. So yeah, I'm going to go back to our first season again because Huddersfield were crucial in that first season in a way. We got our first away win, second game of the season at Huddersfield, where we beat them 17-10. And it continued our superb start to Super League. Scott Morrell gave Rovers a perfect start, with a try, and Gareth Morton converted it. Morton went on to add a couple of penalties and convert Ben Cockane's second try of the season. And it opened up a 16-0 margin for Rovers, and it was a feisty game. And we were away. I remember sitting in the stands and thinking, I wasn't expecting this. But Huddersfield came back in the second half, and we were 16-10, and we had a few jitters. But James Webster dropped a late goal, and it got rid of any thoughts that the Fartowners, as they're known, might win. However, we played Huddersfield 3 times. The first match at Craven Park that Huddersfield played, I think that was Paul Cook's debut for Rovers, and we lost despite tries from Bauer, Stanley Jean, Cookie, 4 goals on his debut. We lost by 16 points to 20. But the big game was I think it was our last game of the season, 15th of September that year. There was 6,200 in the crowd, but the atmosphere was electric. And we got Huddersfield led 24-12 with about a quarter of an hour to go. We'd had tries from 𝗵𝗏𝗯 and Chris Chester, and Cookie had kicked 2 conversions at that point. But we were getting beat 24-12 and 15 minutes to go. But Fisher finished off a great break by Lovegrove, and Chris Thorman, he got injured trying to tackle Fisher going over, and Thorman, who'd been the main gameplay for Huddersfield, went off injured, and it allowed Rovers to hit back, and Fisher got his second try after a jinking run, and with 5 minutes to go, Paul Cook dropped a goal, and we led 25-24. And I remember that last 5 minutes, the whole of the East Stand never stopped chanting, come on Rovers, come on Rovers, come on. And it was non-stop for 5 minutes. That takes some doing. And the atmosphere at the end of it, we were safe, we were in Super League for the next year. And the Claret and Gold, 2 matches, 1 away, 1 at home that we won, were crucial to that. By the way, here's one for you. Scott might like this. I was listening to Radio Humberside once, and Huddersfield were playing Hull FC. David Dog Davidson. Now, Huddersfield have always been known for the jerseys, claret and gold, a red wine colour and gold. And David Dog Davidson was describing the jersey, and he said, it's a mucky yellow and a mucky red. I thought that was a great line. Great line. Traditionally, claret and gold. But yeah, so there were 3 great games that season, and I think they were the best 3 games we've had against Huddersfield for competitiveness. And I'm looking forward to Sunday's game.
Yeah, and Steve, I think for me, I've got 2 recent memories. Is the Robbie Mulhern try where a prop went nearly the full length of the pitch, and also the 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 performance where he pretty much put a dinner jacket on to play against Huddersfield. He was pretty much untouched. I think it was Huddersfield as well, though, where he suffered another ACL injury as well. But that performance from Campese in that game against Huddersfield is probably, in recent memory, one of the complete performances from a player in that position.
If he could have kept fit, God knows what he could have done for us. But
the issue, wasn't it?
Sorry?
That was the issue, wasn't it? He probably he'd suffered too many similar injuries in his career. It just didn't work out for him at the Robins.
How often did we see him get tackled with the ball? Very rare. It reminds me, going back in time, to Brian Lockwood at Wembley. How many times did he get tackled with the ball? These players, they just know how to control a game. And Campese, he was a master at it. And he's doing a lot of good in Australia now with the 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Foundation for young kids. So all power to his elbow, you know. Yeah,
Steve, do you know what? It's a great pleasure once again to have you on the Robin Pod. I look forward to where you take us back to every time. The fact you've been able to bring up some memories from Huddersfield is fantastic. And we look forward to hearing you back on the Robin Pod in next week's edition. And Steve, just to bring you back in before we finish, of course, we've got some big games on the horizon. I'm sure you're looking forward to bringing Robins Revisited back to us, because there's going to be some big games to remember.
Absolutely. There's one next week. Well, I'm not sure whether to mention the one they all like to. They seem to have forgotten, because that lot, when they talk about Rovers not winning competitions and this, that and the other, the one thing they can't take away from us is we won the big one.
Well, let's leave it there, and Steve, I look forward to what you're going to bring us in next week's Robin Pod.
Good man. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, Bazza, it's always good to reflect in it, to hear back from them games from long times ago. I mean, the Huddersfields one, not that far away, but I'll tell you what, it's keeping Paddy heritage is an important part of the Robins.
Yeah, mate, I really enjoyed that, reminiscing back to them days. Huddersfield back then wasn't a bad side, if I remember rightly. There was coached by Tony Smith, if I remember rightly, and they had big 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 up front, Danny Brough in the halves. They really weren't a bad side, and for us as a newly promoted side, with still a lot of our championship squad in there, to turn them over twice in one season, it wasn't bad, because I think at that year, weren't they regarded as, no, was that the year there was like a top six side, or was that the year after? Because I know one year they went down, didn't they? But either way, there was still a very, very good side, especially with Big Al up front.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bazza, I'll keep with you, because lots of talk this week. Apparently, NRL investment is imminent. They are either buying the competition, they're setting up their own competition, they're going to set a criteria for certain clubs to be in their league, blah, blah. They're supposed to have got their own TV deal, blah, blah. Is NRL investment key to elite level rugby league in the Northern Hemisphere?
I think it is, absolutely. And firstly, can I just say, I think it's definitely coming in. I reckon KR's already got one up on with the developments that they're proposing to do, building the old Ashwell School up. So they're already one step ahead. It'll be fantastic. It's what the sport needs in bringing the youth development up getting the money in the clubs. Hopefully, I don't want to criticise the refs so much, but hopefully it'll bring the standard of reffing up as well, which up here is needed. It can only be good things, but there's a lot of speculation, at the moment. We won't know the finer details until the deal goes through, if it's to go through. And who knows, mate, we could be Joe Reg with the Rabbitohs instead of bloody Goal Vikings, and that's no disrespect to Goal, but I can only imagine it'll be good for the sport.
Yeah, Scott, I think if I look at it, where Super League is now, and we've seen Nigel Wood come back now to lead a strategic review into the future of rugby league. We've seen IMG. We've seen the clubs break away from sort of RFL in terms of wanting to determine their own position. And it's really not getting us anywhere, is it? So, something fundamentally in the game needs to change. And for me, Scott, the only way that changes is by some big capital investment, some big lump sum of money that is going to come in. And at the moment, if we stay as we are, Sky aren't going to pay us more than what they're already paying, because why would they? So,
No.
you know, I understand people who are worried about rugby league going away from the heartlands, but fundamentally, something has got to change in the sport for us to be relevant in 10 years' time. I'm not being funny, Scott. I see my lad now who likes rugby. He's more interested in watching bloody e-sport. People play computer games.
Yeah.
Women's sport, it's not to do with women's. Women's rugby in Australia is bigger than Super League in our country. We are getting left behind. Something needs to change in this country in terms of rugby league. And I don't know what it is, but if there's a proposition on the table, I feel like we're getting backed into a corner where we've got to take it, because if we don't, we're gone. That's where rugby league's going.
Well, imagine if Sky pulled the plug next year.
Well, if we keep less in the TV deal, Scott, the clubs just get less and less money. They get less.
Yes, absolutely. But you're also in a position where, if we just look at, let's take the Challenge Cup draw as an example. The BBC that are very similar, they don't give a toss about rugby league. It's more of an hindrance to them. But yet, it's the greatest product on the pitch. It's the greatest sport in the world. Yet it can never, ever. All the people that have tried to promote it and take it to another level, for whatever reason, have never achieved it. And I think that's because the people who've run the sport for years have constantly sold it down the river. It's never been a rich sport. It never has been. All the money's in rugby union. That's where all the money is. That's where all the businessmen are. That's where all the big companies are. If we were rugby union, had rugby union's money, we would go where rugby union is, without a shadow of a doubt. But rugby league has always been seen as the M62 working class corridor sport. It always has. How it goes from there to being a national sport, I don't know. Many have tried. Many have tried and many have failed. Look at all the ventures, with all the other places where we've tried rugby league. But will the NRL, what will it achieve by them coming in and taking control of Super League? I don't know. And why would, I think it's got to happen. But why would they want to pump a shitload of money into a product that might fail again? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get it. But something's got to happen fundamentally, hasn't it?
Can I come in on this, Johno?
Yeah, go on, Bazza. You go.
I think what it is, I think it's like Sky's giving up. And I heard, like, on Super League Raw, prime example, last Sunday, there was 2 games kicking off at 3 o'clock. Was it 2? No, there was KR and Leigh kicking off at 3 o'clock. That was on Sky Red Button. Yeah, on Sky main channel, Sky Action, they had reruns of Wigan Leeds. Why isn't that on the main channel? You're trying to get eyes on the game, and you're putting it on the red button. You can't record on it. It's not promoting it. They need eyes on the game, and it's like Sky is giving up. This is why I think the NRL need to come in and also say, put it on Netflix, put it on Disney Plus. I mean, I think that's been thrown out a bit. They'll throw some money at it. That'll get eyes on it. when Sky are looking at Super League as a second grade thing, they'll put bloody women's football on over rugby league, or a rerun of a previous game. Something needs to change within the way it's viewed, and like playing games at the same time. What if there's 2 games on a Sunday? Why not have one at 1, one at 3, and then us diehard rugby fans or watch rugby no matter what, we'll watch everything, and it's getting viewing figures up. They've got it wrong. They have got it wrong, and it feels like Sky are giving up on it, and things do need to change sooner rather than later.
But if
Yeah,
we,
but
if Sky do give up on it, we're in bother, aren't we? We're in bother if Sky give up, you know, because we would need another TV deal somewhere along the line pretty damn quick. And there's nobody out there throwing money at Rugby League, you know. So, you know, we're really lucky that some clubs might have a bit of a sugar daddy now to help them out through, you know, through the season. But there's a lot of clubs that don't either. You know, they are absolutely reliant on every penny from Sky. If Sky pulled the plug tomorrow, I don't know what happens to the game. I really don't.
Well, ultimately, you know, you look at when you watch Sky now, they've got everything from netball to
Darts.
I think they had a rerun the other day. I think the other day they had a rerun of a women's netball match on ahead of a rugby match, a live rugby league game. And
so it's that relevant, isn't it?
So the women's netball, I think, had an attendance actually at the match, at the netball match. There was about 30 people there. But they're showing that live ahead of a game of rugby league. I can't get it, really. I don't get it.
And I think this is why we need new people running the RFL. Whether Wood's the right man for the job, he got a cracking deal years ago, but maybe he can get us some sort of decent deal now, or do some sort of negotiating. I mean, I watch a lot of NRL, and it's massive. Fox, it's all over Fox. They have the Sunday night show. It's like match of the day. I mean, there's no reason why something like that can't happen across here. Maybe not on such a big scale, but we just need to get eyes on the game.
Yeah, and to be fair, Bazza, on the last Robin pod, I mean, I think sometimes, and it's not, we're naive to go, like, look at the NRL and go, well, we should do this. The NRL is Australia's national sport.
Yeah.
Biggest. It's like comparing the Premier League to bloody Tiddlywinks.
But why can't it grow here? Why can't it grow here? Why can't we get more people on side? We need more. That's what I'm saying. We need more eyes on the sport, on the game, to get people interested.
And this is what I'm saying. Something radical needs to happen, and we need to do you know what? We need to forget, like the RFL, right? When they vote, and the vote for people like Nigel Wood coming in, Batley have got the same vote of Hull Kingston Rovers, right? So the game's not going to evolve while we keep considering teams who have got no chance of ever being an elite team at the top level of the sport. So we need somebody to come in and go, right, this is our competition. These are our rules. We've got a TV deal. You'll get central funding. It'll be this much. And this is the criteria you've got to meet. If you meet that criteria, you're in our competition. Boom, right, we're in. But that doesn't mean that the sport underneath that dies. It means that the governing body, the RFL, create a competition that could potentially one day create the teams that could feed into that competition. But at the moment, we've got teams, clubs who have got no chance of ever being at the top level of the sport, voting, having an opinion, being able to influence the game. And the RFL, what I will say is, and this is sometimes where we get a bit blinkered. Yeah, we talk about Super League as being the top level of sport. There's a lot of rugby underneath that. There's community rugby. There's kids. My lad plays. I coach the team. Like the RFL take care of that. The RFL are a body that looks after every part of the game. For me, the top level needs removing from the RFL to let the RFL concentrate on their what they need to do in terms of the game overall. But the top level is not part of that now. And I think the Nigel Woods coming in, the strategic review. Look, we need somebody to come in from outside to influence that top level game. Some people are going to get hurt from it. People are going to miss out. People are going to not like having to pander to what the criteria might be to be in that top level game. But I just think, Bazza, something has got to change fundamentally, like massively, because we are like on that hamster wheel of things. Just it never changes. We just keep going round and round and round and round, and we are in danger, like I said before, of getting left behind and being irrelevant. And once you become irrelevant, TV companies go, well, why would we want to show you?
No, I agree, mate. And I think change is happening. I mean, I suggested putting every game on YouTube. I mean, you look at all these YouTubers getting 1.2 million views and that. Stick everything on YouTube, get a deal with YouTube, and build off that. It's like starting at the bottom and build off that again. Because you're going to get more eyes on YouTube than you will someone who's willing to pay £80 a month Sky subscription for 8 months of rugby. Stick everything on YouTube, start again, 1 year, and then who knows? Netflix, Disney Plus, what's been mentioned? Is it Dan's? Someone like that? Fox? People will start coming in.
I'll tell you what, Bazza, I'll go to Scott. I'll tell you what, there was a game at Wembley a couple of weeks ago, a football game, right? And it was YouTubers, influencers, blah, blah.
So
people of our age will have no idea who they are. I'll tell you what, they sold Wembley out for 90,000 people.
90,000 people, yeah.
Right? At the moment, we have not tapped into any market. So when IMG got involved in the game, right, bearing in mind one of their what they do is market sports, right? They should not have been involved in trying to set standards across rugby league, trying to set a criteria. That's governance. That is what the governing body should be doing. IMG should be marketing our game, and they tried to do small things, didn't they? To put rugby league players at Wimbledon and put them in the boxing, and they did things like that's how you evolve the game. We've got to evolve. This is where the market is. Like to become ultimately, the game isn't now about, and this isn't just rugby league. This is sport. It's not about people paying to go to games. It's about the TV audience. That's where the big money is. And we've just not cottoned on to that whatsoever. And that's what I was hoping IMG might have brought in, is that new audience.
The thing is with IMG, you get scored on views of us watched your game on the telly, don't you? So how are we going to get massive views if you're on bloody Plus because there's a rerun on the main channel? It's not balanced correctly, and it's an unfair advantage to certain teams. And I will hold my hands up. KR got a lot of main games at the beginning of the year, which is great for our IMG, but other teams who aren't getting the main event, who aren't getting the half-an-hour build-up, who aren't getting the views on it, it's not great for their IMG score. So for me, yeah, it's great for KR, but it's just not a level playing field, and they've got it very wrong.
Yeah,
Stop what we're going to do.
As I said at the beginning, we've got, for me, it's the greatest product. So how can't we sell one of the greatest products of a sport in the world? For me, yeah, that might have been a bit blinkered, being from the Northern Hemisphere and being rugby league fans, but the games are end to end. The hits, the combat, you know, it's an absolutely brilliant product to watch. Yet we can't sell it. We can't make it one of the world's best sports. I don't get it. Something's got to happen fundamentally. It's got to change fundamentally. And if that's the NRL coming in and taking it over and running it the way they run the NRL and pumping money into it, getting us a TV deal, even if that TV deal in Australia, as Bazza said, with Fox or 7 or 9 or whoever, just something's got to happen fundamentally because the product's there. Yeah, it can be improved. Yes, it can be better. Of course it can. But at the end of the day, if it was a crap product, you won't be able to sell it. But the fact that it's a good product should be able to sell. But no, it's rudderless. Rugby league has been rudderless forever. I'm into my 50s now, and from watching the game since 1977, it's been absolutely rudderless, and it's never ever improved. So something has to change massively. Massively.
I'll tell you what, Bazza, I'm going to bring you in, but Scott, I'll tell you what, my lads, 3 and 9, Saturday night, prime time, tea time, what do they love watching? Gladiators.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me how rugby league is not like Gladiators.
Exactly. It's a battle, it's a combat.
It's a battle, it's combat.
It's two teams going hell for leather, battering each other into submission until you get a winner. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a sport. It's exciting, it's fast, it's quick, it's pacey. Why would people want to watch it? But yet, millions of people watch, but millions of people watch the Dross that's Rugby Union. As though it's like one of the greatest games in the world, you know. When one of their wingers goes airborne to score a try, it's all over the media. Rugby league wingers do that in every single game. It's the norm. You know, I just can't get my head around it. But it's all down to that, isn't it? It's all down to money. It's all down to money people. And money people promoting the game. It really is.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Scott, I know as much as you're shocked that people invest in rugby league, I was more shocked that you're in your 50s. I thought you was far
old. Well, a bit older than that, actually. Put a 1 on the end as well.
The biggest shock of the
you put a 2 on the end zone as well.
But no, I'll tell you what, Bazza, right? Super League, Rugby League, the Ashes have been announced. England are going to take on Australia. They're going to play them at Wembley, then Liverpool, and then in Leeds in October. It's going to be prime time TV viewing. Is that the best opportunity to now sell the game to the nation, to say, look, rugby league, this is how good it is. This is the ferocity of it. This is the aggression. This is the skill levels. Is this our best opportunity now? And if we don't do it at this opportunity, is the game gone?
It really is, mate, because not only are we showcasing it to us, we're showcasing it to the Aussies. Say, look what we've got. We can match you, go toe-to-toe. We've been crying for the Ashes for years. And now it's finally on our doorstep. We've got a chance. And it's not only that, we've got young lads, Johno and 𝗪𝗪, Mikey Lewis. All want to say, look, I'm an Aussie standard. You know, I think it will put a lot of players firmly on the map. And I don't see why it won't put our spot on the map. They need to market it correctly. And as silly as it sounds for us Northerners, do a package deal to get us down to Wembley. Put it on prime time. Put it on RTV. Put it on BBC. Get everybody looking at it. That is exactly what it needs, and you will not get a better promotion than at Everton's new stadium. Because you know, you don't even have to be a massive rugby fan. It'll just be an experience in itself to go see Everton's new ground. So you will not get a better opportunity to fill that ground. It's make or break for us, and I reckon we'll do it. There'll be enough Aussies over here, and I think come October, by the time the Ashes are done, I think there might be some deals written on tables.
Yeah, and Scott, I'll tell you what, Mikey Lewis, Jesleton, Elite Minchella, Batchelor, who knows? They'll be licking their lips now going, hang on, we've got the chance of coming up against the best at the end of the season. Yeah. Mikey Lewis is probably the one who's spearheading that Rovers campaign of players to get into that England side. But I'll tell you what, they'll be licking their lips now going, hang on, I like a bit of that. Yeah,
I love a bit of that cake, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Play against the best in the world. And just as we've been talking about the NRL perhaps taking over the Super League, it seems funny that all of a sudden there's an Ashes series and Australia are coming over here. There's certainly more going on behind the scenes, isn't there? Without a shadow of a doubt. People complaining about Wembley, it's too big, why we're playing it in London. The Challenge Cup final was played there every year. If you go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, the Challenge Cup final sold out every year. People used to go down to it. So why wouldn't people from the north go down and watch England and Australia in a test match, especially if the pricing of the tickets is right. Why wouldn't you do that? Why can't we get 90,000 people in Wembley? Why? Why not? It's the same.
Well, I tell you what, Scott, if you go back to the old test, and I tell you what, I was well, I say unfortunate enough to be there at the World Cup semi-final when Sean Johnson went in and scored that try to put England out of the. When it was nailed on, you thought there was going to be in the World Cup final. I tell you what a great occasion. There's enough expats down there, Aussies and rugby league fans there. But I think it's up to the English rugby league fans to get down there and make. I tell you what,
I agree.
Who wouldn't like going down to London's great.
Make a weekend of it. Go watch the match. Go see a show if you want to. Go do a bit of sightseeing. Make a weekend of it. I can't get my head around it. Why would you?
How many can you get in your lorry if we're going down?
Mate, I can only get one passenger, but I can fill my trailer up. Like, no worries.
Whoa. Well, at least we're not illegal, so you won't get arrested. There's no fines.
Well, again, I've heard today people complaining that the last test is going to be at Headingley. You know, if that is the decider,
because
if that's the decider, Headingley is not big enough, is it?
I understand why people might look at that last one and go, why is it Headingley only 20,000?
Yeah.
But if it's a 2-0...
nobody's going to go. Yeah.
No one's going to go. Now, at the same point, it could be 1-1 and it's the decider. But at the end of the day, we're not a cash-rich sport, and the RFL have got to protect themselves a little bit because it costs money to put these events. You know, it costs money. The worst thing they could do is say the fair test be at St James's Park. You've got a dead rubber. You've sold 20,000 tickets. But hang on, you've had to pay for a stadium that costs X amount. So I understand it. But on the face of it, I think the duty is to make sure that Wembley sold out, Everton sold out, Headingley will sold out anyway. So you've got a great opportunity to go to two stadiums that well, Rovers will probably go there for the second time if you're a Rovers fan. But because, of course, we're going to Challenge Cup final and then we'll go to the Ashes game. Yeah. And it's a new ground. We've never been before. So we've got, I think, you can't call and demand these games without then getting off your asses and going and supporting them and paying the money.
Exactly. Yeah. Get down to Wembley. Go fill Wembley with 90,000 rugby league fans and show people what a great product and a great sport we've got.
I think what you'll find is, clubs may start doing coaches, which will always help as well. You know, because clubs still have their part to play in rugby league, and the way KR are going in promoting the game, I won't be surprised if KR stuck 5 or 10 coaches on trip to Wembley, booking ticket sale for us.
But that's how Wembley used to get filled back in the day. All the pubs and clubs used to take a weekend trip away, didn't they? Every pub and club in Hull used to go to Wembley back in the day, whether Rollo Rovers were in the final or not. They used to take trips, and that's why Wembley was always full, as did every other town and city in the north of England. But for whatever reason, that all stopped. That seemed to come to an end at some point. So now, when you get a Challenge Cup final, you've only really got the 2 teams' finalist supporters and a couple of thousand more, and that's it, really. You know, so you just get down and support the sport. We cannot complain about the sport not getting support and funding and then not supporting. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going on Bazza's lorry and I'm sleeping in his bed.
Top and tail.
Anyway, right. We haven't even mentioned Huddersfield on Sunday. Scott, is that a foregone conclusion? They've been shite, haven't they? They have been absolutely terrible. Salford have been rubbish, right? And then they went and beat Huddersfield.
Yeah.
It's a foregone conclusion, isn't it?
Rovers won't see it as a foregone conclusion. You know, because that's the standards that Willie sets and that the players set. They'll go out there and they'll just see it as if they're playing a Wigan or a Saints or whoever. The opposition is irrelevant to Rovers. It's what Rovers do on the pitch themselves that will fundamentally decide where and who we become at the end of the season. So Rovers won't see it as a given. I can see many fans thinking, well, we can't go there and get beat, can we? And it's, I mean, if we're being truthful at the moment, it's highly unlikely. You wouldn't back against Rovers, probably winning by 20 plus points, maybe. But rugby league's a funny game, isn't it? You just never know. And you only need to be off your game a couple of percent. And the other team are on top of their game a bit more than they have been. And you can be in a bit of bother, but I don't see it. I really don't. I think we'll win the game easily, to be honest.
I'll tell you what, Bazza, what I said on the back of the league game is that you can almost see the Rovers' game plan, how it's unfolding, but the opposition have got no way of stopping it. So you know how they're going to spell 𝗲𝗂𝗏 in the opening 20. You know when Litton's coming on. You know when Tanganoa's coming on. But even though that the opposition know what's coming, it just happens, and it's quite methodical, which is going back to like what Scott said about the Wigan way and how they're playing, how it's downward transference. But I mean, come on, Huddersfield have been shite, haven't they? I watched that game against Salford, and I can't make a reasoning for Huddersfield to win that other than you never know what might happen. But
well, the thing is with Huddersfield, I mean, I've got good friends. I was a Huddersfield fan, and the first few games they looked all right, and they did look dangerous. You could see a side there, especially if they didn't have the injuries. And I actually tipped them to do Salford, and as a whole, that game was horrific. It was poor quality. I mean, taking out away from Salford, they got the job done, but it was terrible, and it just reminded me. I think my first words was, "That was us. We was in that position not that long ago. Absolutely awful, week in, week out. So many injuries, patched up players playing out of position, and it just reminded me of KR a few years ago. I can't see where Huddersfield's first win's coming from right now, but I'm still, we should win. I'm still a little bit edgy because you take nothing for granted in this game. Absolutely nothing. Complacency. There won't be no complacency. I'm expecting a win. I'm not as optimistic as certain fans saying, "Oh yeah, 60-0 drumming." Mate, if we beat them 4-0, I will be equally as happy as I was beating Leigh 30-0. We've kept the nil. We've got the job done. We'll go on. We're still top of the league. I'm happy with that.
There you go. That sounds like a 𝗲𝗡𝗐𝗏𝗏 speech there.
No, but we haven't even got the best record at the John Smith until late. We hated going there. We could buy a win there at one point, and now we're going there expecting a win.
Huddersfield should have one win on the board. It should have been against that lot.
Yeah,
the game management against Hull FC was absolutely abysmal, and Hull FC should never have come away from the John Smiths with a win. No way on earth should they have done that. Huddersfield's game management let them down, so they should have at least one win on board, but they haven't. You know, so.
I feel sorry for Leigh Leopards as well. The poor sod. That is just unlucky.
Well, can you imagine Luke Robinson? He's done that deal. He's brought in, like he said, a top 4 Super League fullback, and in the first half of the game, he breaks it. I sometimes the coaches or managers, whatever, you go, well, what can you do? You think you brought someone into cheat, and then you get someone who's then had a major injury, a big injury, and then your game plan just totally changes for the next few weeks. So, hey, that's professional sport. Right, that brings us to Bazza and Scott. Right, Scott, first question from Stephen Overton. He says, should Broadbent be left out of the team against Huddersfield to make sure he's fit for the cup game?
No. Play him. Got to play him. And then if he falls into the cup team, you can't. For me, you always play your best team. For me, your strongest team. Yeah, Mo can go in there. If Broadbent gets dropped for Huddersfield, and then he comes back for the cup tie. Not for me. Not for me. He plays at Huddersfield, and if he gets injured, that's just part of the game. That's life. That's the game, and somebody else will have to fill in a fullback. No, Broadbent for me all day long.
What do you reckon, Bazza?
I don't know. I agree where Scott's coming from, but I also see Hull FC's paid a fee. Hull has paid a fee for half a morgue.
I tell you what, Bazza, you've just fucking. That's it now.
No, sorry. It's because I've got the Challenge Cup in my head, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's because I've got the Challenge Cup in my head.
I tell you what. If you're listening to this on the podcast or watching this on YouTube, just enjoy Bazza's last appearance on the Rugby Pod.
It's because I'm thinking about the Challenge Cup. But now, KR have paid this fee for Morg. They are going to want to get some use out of him. When? I don't know. But you see, Broadbent, you can leave him out the side for 5 games and bring him in, and you're getting that complete performance no matter what. The thing is, if he does pick up a knock, all we got against FC, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I totally agree with Scott. You don't change your winning side, but I don't know. I'm just glad I'm a fan and not a coach.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough one. Next question. We've sort of spoke about it. Is Headingley the right venue for the final Ashes game, or would you have held it elsewhere? I think we've probably answered that over on X. Thanks for Livy asking that on X. We've got a few more questions on Facebook. Well, this isn't a question; it's more of a statement. PNG boys are coming over. A well-known Cummel confirmed it on Sunday, so that looks like it might be happening. Ian Dixon said that on Facebook. How is Mossy getting on? Anyone know? David Blaine, big Rovers fan. I'm not sure. It's gone a bit quiet about the Mossy Massoy, but that's a good thing because I think he is cracking on in terms of he was. I think last we heard he was working, he was getting around, he was busy. So let's leave that there. Do you think we should give Art and Morg a run out this week against Huddersfield, or keep Jack Broadbent at fullback? That's from 𝗵𝗂𝗏𝗲. I think we've already answered that. And someone that I work with, Matt Brown, will the host of tonight's podcast be allowed to go to Huddersfield on Sunday? Well, it's a big dilemma, isn't it? Because Sunday is not just Hull Kingston Rovers against Huddersfield. It's, what is it, Scott?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
So thankfully, my missus doesn't listen to the Robin Pod. So I've managed to carefully manoeuvre certain things around my boys spending time with their mummy. So I tell you what, Brownie, if you're in the away end, I will be seeing you there on Sunday.
Good man.
Yeah. But to be fair, let's be honest, it is a difficult one, isn't it? Like Mother's Day, Rovers, unless your mother supports Rovers, and it's the easiest one you've got.
Yeah, my old lady will be there.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, my old lady passed away years ago, so I don't have a mother, so I'm off to Huddersfield.
There you go.
I don't know whether to laugh at that or not.
I was going to say, Scott, what a passed out that is.
Brilliant, yeah. And then when my kids say to me it's Mother's Day for their mother, so she's not my mother.
The worst bit is for Bazza, his mum's stowing away in the back of his lorry.
Bloody hell, I'll be getting stopped by Bazza tomorrow for bloody people smuggling.
Right,
I'm actually more surprised that Brownie will be at Huddersfield, to be honest.
Well, anyway, that's a different conversation altogether, Scott. But I tell you what, Scott, let's leave it on that. I tell you what, great guest tonight on the Robin Pod. We go to Huddersfield. I think we've learnt to know that the Robins, when they should win, they don't always win. But we should be going to Huddersfield full of confidence. If you're a mother and you're listening to the Robin Pod, have a great Mother's Day. I hope to see you in the away end. You deserve to be spoiled for all that you've done. This is the Robin Pod. Don't forget Budget Tyres Auto Centre. Tune into them because they are the sponsors of the podcast. But for now, live, love, laugh and be happy.
Singing a song when the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along.
The Robin Pod is powered by Budget Tyres Auto Centre. Make them your first and only choice for a vast array of vehicle services. They are reputable East Hull-based car specialists and dedicated to providing quality services at reasonable prices. And don't forget, they are trusted by the players, club officials and supporters of Hull Kingston Rovers. Find them at 146 Leeds Road and ask them about the exclusive discount they offer Hull